Okay, guys, it's 10 a.m. We're gonna have some people come in, but I might as well get started with some housekeeping and introductions and all the fun stuff. So welcome everybody. My name is Reno Falvo from Rezgo, and today we have another special guest for our industry expert webinars. We have Amir here from One Up Digital Marketing, and so before I do introductions and such like that, just some housekeeping stuff so that you guys are aware. So you heard the recording sound. I just turned on the recording. There's a lot of information in these webinars, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to go back to look at stuff. So I'm going to record this webinar, and either later on today or tomorrow morning, I will send you a copy of this webinar. And just so that you guys know, everybody's muted. So you guys will unfortunately won't be able to speak. However, there are going to be opportunities to ask questions at the end of the webinar. Now, we are in Zoom right now, so where you can ask those questions, there's a Q&A box at the bottom. You can click the Q&A, type in your question, and then what we'll do is we'll get Amir to address these at the end of the presentation. So then that's all set. And the other thing about so this, I'm not going to steal Amir's thunder and go into too much detail. So this webinar is a great thing because this is all about SEO and the magic of search engines and stuff like this. And this is actually a follow up from another industry expert interview we did with Amir's colleague, who did more of a marketing overview, and we felt, you know what, let's get an expert, like let's call him the godfather of SEO training, um, Amir, and to just dive into the world of SEO. So what I'm going to do is, without further ado, I will give the floor to you, my friend Amir.
Thanks, Reno, and welcome everybody to our webinar for tourism SEO tips and tricks. My name is Amir Haydari, and I'm currently an SEO specialist at OneUp. And just before we get started, I'd like to give you guys an introduction about me or a small overview about me. Um, so again, my name is Amir. I think we repeated ourselves on that, and my professional background, I've been practicing SEO for the past 7 years. Maybe you've been doing digital marketing for 8 years ish. So I've been very SEO focused from the beginning, and my focus is still SEO. I've been an SEO instructor for the past 2 years at Cornerstone College of Canada. So teaching SEO to help people get into the industry, and I've been working as an SEO specialist with OneUp for the past 10 months, almost coming to a year very soon. I've worked in many different industries for SEO, including virtual reality, nonprofit organizations, law offices, and tourism. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today, mostly tourism SEO. A little bit about my not so professional background. So when I'm not doing SEO, I like to go paddleboarding. I like to go tennis, and I just realized that's paddle boring, but ignore that.
I never
Um,
knew paddle boarding was boring.
that's a new sport. It's paddle boring. Yeah, and I like to play tennis and just explore all around BC. Getting to know BC very well. Our today's agenda, basically, we're going to be covering some on-page SEO, including customer journey and search intent, which will then fall into how to target the right keywords when it comes to customer journey and their intent. Coming up with a content strategy to create topic clusters, a long-term strategy, as well as internal linking for on-page SEO, why internal linking is important, best practices, and how to do it. Then we are going to get a little bit more technical. So we start from content and more basic stuff to begin with, and then we are going to dive into more technical stuff and cover a little bit of more advanced SEO, basically. And so when it comes to technical SEO, we'll be covering crawlability and indexability of your site, all the factors that affect it and you should pay attention to, and some best practices for them. We are also going to talk about site speed, structured data. So if you don't know what that is, we'll get into that shortly. Um, and we're going to talk about some SEO tools. As we go through this presentation, I'm going to show you and tell you how to do things. And by the end of the presentations, I'm going to tell you guys all the tools you need to do them. So I'm not just going to leave you guys hanging, but I'll give you all the tools that you'll need in order to get this done. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Awesome.
So to understand keyword targeting, it's important to understand search intent and customer journey in order to target the right keywords. And a lot of the times, people really pay attention to the search volume and how difficult a keyword is to rank for, but there's less attention given to the customer journey and search intent. So that's why today I really want to talk about search intent. So search intent is the reason behind a person's online search, whether they're looking for information, they're looking to find a specific website, like let's say Facebook login page. They're looking for a product or a service to buy, or they're looking for a destination or a place to visit. And it mainly falls into four buckets. Today we're going to talk about three of them, but we'll cover three of them, but we'll talk about all four. So we have informational search intent to get information, things like best iPhones or best phones in 2022 or 2023, rather. I want to know what are the top phones in 2023. The next one is commercial intent. So comparing products, comparing prices, comparing companies and reviews. This one could be something like um, iPhone 13 Pro versus Samsung Galaxy S10. Forgive me, I'm not too familiar with Samsung's, but you're comparing two products. So the intent was to investigate, commercial investigation. And the last one is transactional search intent, and it's to make a purchase. So the reason I'm searching this, for example, cheap iPhone 13 Pro or used iPhone 13 Pro, that suggests that I'm looking to make a transaction and I'm looking for a used version of it or a cheaper version of it, whatever that may be. Other than the four buckets, we also talk about search intent as the main reason a user was doing a search in the first place. So, what were they really looking to get out of it from that search? Some examples of search intent here. So, informational, commercial, and transactional. Um, so, the first one is safety measures at Valley Zipline. So it's about Valley Zipline, but they want to know if there are any safety measures. They want to get that information and learn about it. The next one is commercial intent for the same topic, best zipline tours in BC. So they want to compare zipline tours and investigate which one's actually better, maybe in terms of price, maybe in terms of experience, maybe in terms of how close it is to their destination. So they're actually investigating. And the last one is transactional search intent. Again, so book zipline tours at Valley Zipline. Now, at this point, they've looked at the safety measures, they have looked at the best zipline tours in BC, and they're like, we want to go to Valley Zipline and we want to book it. So that's a transactional search intent. Same thing with activities to do in Hawaii, informational search intent on the left. And then as you get closer to actually going on your vacation, you might search something like Hawaii versus Miami vacation prices, because now you know what's there to do in Hawaii, you know what's there to do in Miami. Now you want to compare prices, see which one's more affordable, which one brings more value. And then the last one would be cheap vacation packages to Hawaii. So you've compared Hawaii and Miami, and now you're actually looking to book and make a transaction. Um, and I have some examples for you from what Google search results actually look like. So activities to do in Hawaii. If you look at that and you look at the results that are coming up, you can see that they're all or most of them are in the format of blog posts. Top things to do, 20 things to do in Hawaii. So it's all informational blog posts.
Is that quite common, Amir? Like in terms of when you're doing these kind of searches, like blog posts will come up to the top in this kind of situation?
So usually when you have informational, when your the query that you're searching is informational, usually blog posts are the type of pages that tend to rank. So if you target this keyword on maybe a transactional page, like a service page, then you're not as likely to rank for it, right? And that's why I have the next example for you. So when you change it from cheap vacation packages to Hawaii, instead of blog posts, now you have a transactional search intent. So you now see actual vacation package pages, basically. Does that make sense, Reno?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
the type of pages change as your intent changes. So that means Google understands the intent for each query, and it tailors the results based on the intent and what the user was looking to get out of it. So essentially, we really want to pay attention to the intent and give the user what they were looking for. That way, we can make sure and to increase our chances of ranking on the first page. And one more thing to note here is that it's not always so black and white, but what the search intent might be. For certain queries, it's easy just by reading it, you might be able to tell. But for some other queries, it might be a little bit harder. Um, and the truth is, some queries might have more than one search intent, but then there's always a primary search intent. And that's what we should really consider. What is the primary search intent of this keyword? And if it's still hard for us to figure out what the search intent is, what we can do is we can put the query in Google and look at the type of results, like this example here that Google is ranking for that query on the first page. So if you start to see a lot of blogs and you start to see a lot of informational pages giving you information, then that's a hint that this is an informational query with an informational search intent. If you start to see pages that are trying to sell you things, they're salesy pages, including services or a package or a product, then you know this is a transactional search intent, and that should help you target the keyword better.
That's actually a very good point, especially for all our operators, because you never really even think about separating and identifying the two.
For sure, for sure.
Nice.
And then we kind of want to tie search intent to customer journey. So customer journey, for those of you that might not know, customer journey basically refers to the process of someone actually making a transaction from when they realize they're aware of it, they're aware a certain package or a certain product exists on the market, to when they desire, they actually want to buy it or they want to get it, to when that actually happens. And then there's the post customer journey, which refers to loyal customers coming back to your business. So search intent and customer journey kind of tie in very closely together. Um, and I want to tell you a few things about it when it comes to customer journey for SEO. So when it comes to customer journey for SEO, we really talk about keywords and we look at um, what portion of customer journey is each keyword or is each query in. So queries that are in the beginning of the customer journey or keywords that are in the beginning of the customer journey tend to have higher search volume and they're more broad. For example, the keyword coffee. They're at the beginning of the customer journey because I might want to search for coffee just to see all the coffee shops that are around me, what type of coffees are around me. So it's very broad. Versus if I was to search for um, how Starbucks has all these fancy drinks with cold latte stirred up on ice, for example. That's very specific. So that takes me closer to the end of customer journey because I know exactly what I'm looking for at this point. Since they're more broad, they're more general, that means more people are going to be searching for them and they're usually more difficult to rank for. They're very broad. They're also not as likely to convert. They're usually better for brand awareness or maybe conversion down the line, long term from now. And that's because the keywords again are very broad. So if somebody is searching for best tours or best zipline tours in Canada, then or in BC, then I'm just starting my journey to see what kind of zipline tours are there, how close are they to me, how far could they be from me, how much do they cost, can I afford to go on one? So I'm just starting my journey versus a query that searches for zipline tours in Whistler or even includes a brand like the other query that we talked about on the last slide, saying Zipline Valley, basically zipline tours at Zipline Valley. That's closer to the end of customer journey because now the user has done all the research. They know all the zipline facilities that are around. They know how much they cost. They know their safety measures. They know how far it is from them, and they know which one they want to go to. So, end of the journey keywords tend to convert better. Beginning of the journey keywords again have informational search intent. And that's because it's the very beginning of a journey to make a purchase. And a journey usually starts with getting information. Again, zipline tours in BC, right? So they want to know all the zipline tours that exist within BC, trying to get information. And when it comes to end of the journey keywords, it's actually the opposite. So they have lower search volume because they are more specific. As you get more and more specific, the search volume drops lower, lower, and lower. So that we call these long tail keywords as they're more specific. They're longer keywords, like the coffee example that we mentioned, and they're looking for a specific item, product, or service. And that's the reason they tend to convert better. It's like the journey is already over. They've gotten all the information they were looking for. At this point, they're looking for this specific product. So if we do rank for that keyword and we give them the product they're looking for, then we are 50% of the way there. It's like, okay, this is exactly the product you were looking for. This is what we are offering you. So you can see that it's a lot more likely to convert to an actual customer rather than build you brand awareness. And they're usually easier to rank for because they're specific, they tend to have less search volumes, so it makes it easier to rank for. Usually have commercial or transactional search intent. People searching these specific queries are looking to actually make a transaction, or just a step before that, they're looking to compare a couple of products to then make a transaction at a later date.
And when you like on average, because with all the customers you speak to, or let's say in the tourism space, where do you think that people kind of like miss when it comes to keywords? Do they focus more at the beginning of the journey of the keywords, or do you find they focus more on the end of the journey? Like, is it well balanced? Is like, what have you seen from your experience?
Um, I've seen a lot of companies actually focus on beginning of the journey keywords. So they sometimes rank for certain keywords that they don't tend to get customers from, even though it's related to their business. It's good to keep a balance, to be honest. You kind of want to start with end of the journey keywords and cover keywords that are going to bring you transaction or money, as we would say it, to increase and boost your sales. But at some point, once you've covered a good portion of transactional keywords and end of the journey keywords, you want to also target beginning of the journey keyword. Your SEO strategy, once complete, should cover your customers from when they start to search for zipline tours and they start their journey all the way to mid journey and all the way to the end of the journey. So you want to kind of remind them who you are as they're going through that journey. We just like to start with end of the journey keywords, just because we know we want to bring value and sales to the businesses.
That's great. Thanks.
No problem. Sorry, and one last one. Usually more likely to be branded end of the journey keywords, like the example we had for zipline valley tours. So they tend to be usually branded, or some of them are more likely to be branded when you get closer to the end of the journey. And I have a screenshot of what the customer journey typically looks like. On the left, it starts with a product. And as you get closer to the end of the journey, it starts to include a brand at some point, and thereon after. So it starts with a user being aware of a need or being aware of a product, then starts with them having an interest in that product. They might look into it a little bit more, maybe do a little bit more research. Um, then they might have a desire. This is the product that I want. This is the zip line I want to go to. And then the next one is to take action. Book zipline tours, book a zipline tour at Zipline Valley, for example. Um, and then there's the post action. For example, if this was a search for phones, then I would be searching for maybe Apple's extended warranty. I want to see if there's any sort of extended warranty, or I want to see maybe pictures I took at Zipline Valley tours, and I want to take that post action. I want to search that post action branded keyword to find the website again, and maybe go through the pictures and see their other packages. So post actions is basically your customer loyalty coming back to you. So just a recap for customer journey and search intent. Um, so to get more conversions, you want to start targeting keywords at the end of the customer journey. That doesn't mean that you should only target those keywords, but that might be a better place to start. As keywords at the beginning of the customer journey don't tend to convert well. So if you're looking for more or quicker return of investment, um, then you should focus on end of the journey keywords, long tail keywords, specific keywords. Should align your keyword intent with your offerings. So the reason a user makes a search. So you should always align your content and keyword to what the user is looking for and what you offer. Otherwise, if the intent is different, then again, that's not a customer that's going to convert. And you really want to make sure that your target keywords are what your customers would search for. This is very, very important. If you have great articles, if you've done great keyword research, you covered all the keywords from beginning to the end of the customer journey, and targeted all of them. If it's not what your customers would search for, you're not going to get any conversions out of it. So these are just some tips to target keywords a little bit better, um, to be more conversion focused, rather than just looking at the search volume. As we know, search volume can't really be trusted much. It's a vanity metric that can change, and it's based on estimates. And keyword difficulty, I sometimes pay attention to, but most of the time, I really care about the search intent and customer journey. So the next topic we want to talk about is topic clusters. We talk about targeting keywords, but we want to streamline this content strategy into having clusters and specific topic clusters. So, what are topic clusters? Topic clusters are a strategic approach. Basically, it's a certain approach that organizes all of your content pieces together when they're related, and it organizes them around one main page, and it interlinks between them. If you see the picture on the right, the main page in the middle is our pillar content or main topic or main page that we want to rank for. That could be, for example, Tofino tours or BC tours. Um, and then you have cluster content around it. So the cluster content could be, if the main pillar content was BC tours, the cluster content could be each specific tour in BC, or it could be blog posts that are like top 10 activities to do in BC, or some of the best tours to take on in BC, BC's attractions. So you can see that the pillar content picks a main topic, and the cluster content explores the subtopics in that main topic. And then the blue lines are hyperlinks from each cluster content to the pillar content, supporting the pillar content. It's like an army of content to support the pillar content.
It's a really good way, a good visual.
Yeah, that's a good picture. I stole that from HubSpot actually. um, yeah. So what are the benefits of topic clusters? One of the main benefits is increased authority and expertise on specific topics. So one of the things Google looks at in order to rank your content is how much authority and expertise do you have on specific topics. The authority part um, basically talks about how much content you have or other websites recommending you around this topic. How many articles have you published around this topic? Are other people linking to your website as a source for known for this topic? So do you have a reputation around this topic? The expertise part talks about skills, knowledge, any certification that you might have on a specific topic. So one way to increase authority is to have a lot of pages that cover the same topic and the subtopics of the main topic, basically. So if you want to talk about BC tours, you might as well cover all of the specific tours in BC. You might as well cover best things to do in BC. So you really want to have lots of content around the same topic, and that can signal to Google that you're a point of authority, you have reputation around this topic, and that can lead to ranking all of your content better within that topic. And this is basically satisfying the EAT algorithm from Google. And the extra E was added recently. So it's now EEAT, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So those are all the things that Google looks at to make sure you have authority on a given topic and you provide a good experience on that given topic. The other benefit of topic clusters is ranking for multiple related keywords. So rather than just ranking for BC tours, if I offer BC tours, I probably want to rank for best BC tours or different types of BC tours, or when is the best time to visit BC. What are the tours that are must to take on BC? So I definitely want to cover all the subtopics that closely relate to my main topic, as that's traffic that can convert as well. And from those cluster pages related to your main topic, you can direct traffic to your pillar pages through internal linking and using call to actions, basically. So then how should we create topic clusters? I'm going to give you some simple steps and a couple of tools um, to consider when creating topic clusters. The first step is that we want to pick a main topic. The topic should be broad enough to include subtopics. So if my topic is too small, then I don't really have any subtopics to create cluster pages around it. So it doesn't have to be too big, but I do want to make sure that I have some subtopics around it. Again, intent, intent, intent. You want to make sure that the topic satisfies the search intent. It should be aligned with what our users are looking for, and it should be aligned with the intent of our main topic cluster. And it should have traffic potential. And some ways to gauge traffic potential would be to look at competitors ranking for the same topic. I don't necessarily recommend looking at the search volume again because search volume is a vanity metric, and it can be misleading. So one way I like to gauge this is look at competitors or pages that are ranking for this topic to see if they're actually gaining any traffic. Then the next step is, can you target this keyword in an existing page? Do you have an existing page that targets this keyword and is around this keyword that covers this topic? If the answer is yes, then you can use this. You can use your existing page. If the answer is no, then we want to create a new page to start targeting this keyword. The next step is to find subtopics for your clusters. So you can use tools like Answer the Public, also Ask, or Google's PAA box. And I have some screenshots of these tools to show you. I don't think we'll have time to explore each tool one by one and actually go through them, but I'm hoping that the screenshots would help. So the PAA box is people also ask box from Google. Any query that you search in Google, if you scroll down, this box should come up. And if you open any of the questions and close them, it'll add even more questions. So if you keep doing that, you can end up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of topics from Google. And if you do like one of the topics, you can then copy that and put that in the search bar again, and Google will recommend you more topics around that given topic again. Um, and that's a great way to find subtopics, even if you know your business very well. The next tool is called Also Asked. And these are all linked on the slide. So once these slides are shared, you can try these for yourself. And I think it's also asked.com. So I put Safari tours in there and it broke it down to a couple of subtopics for me. And then it broke the subtopics to even more subtopics for me. So Safari tours, what is the average price of a Safari tour? What does Safari tour mean? Where are the best Safari tours in the world? And then when it comes to the price, are safaris worth the money? Why is Safari so expensive? What time of the year is the cheapest for Safari? So those are all centered around pricing. You can also use Answer the Public. So again, for Safari tours, um, it breaks it down to what, will, how. So it breaks the questions down, and there are questions like, what is a safari tour? Are African safari tours safe? Popular African safari tours, safest African safari tours, wild safari tours, Toronto. So it's a great way to find subtopics for your main topic.
Are these tools that you're sharing? These are great. Are these quite common in the industry? A lot of people are using it to help as a tool.
Um, I I know lots of people are using it, but I also know lots of people that don't know about them. So I think also Asked is more of a newer tool that's recently come out, but Answer the Public has been out for a while, and I know it's been widely used for social media, or at least we used it for social media at some point. But it's also great for SEO and discovering all the subtopics and what people really want to know about when it comes
Wow,
to a given topic.
that's great. Thanks. And everybody that's listening, I will be sharing these links in my follow-up email with this recording. So don't worry.
Okay, perfect. So then you can start creating your pillar pages and your cluster pages. Now in this example, we have a digital marketing or SEO example that says what is CWV, which is what is Core Web Vitals. Then the subtopics are how to improve Core Web Vitals, best tools for Core Web Vitals, Core Web Vitals, and Google Search Console. And then you can see that the article that says how to improve Core Web Vitals then links to two sub articles, best tools and Core Web Vitals and Google Search Console. Um, so when you're creating your cluster pages and pillar page, you should have a long-term plan and kind of consider your site structure. You want to take into account scalability. If you were to release 10 more pieces of content, how would you internal link and how would you fit that within your site structure? You kind of want to think long term about this and not just consider your next one or two articles. You should use UX. You can use UX driven internal linking. It's not a must, but it will definitely go. It'll take your content clusters one step further. And what does that mean? Is that um, you can start linking your cluster pages, but a better way to link them is to link cluster pages that are at the top of the funnel, so beginning of the customer journey, and link that to the next page in the customer journey. So kind of follow your customer journey for internal linking. And start from the first page in the customer journey and link it through the last page in your customer journey. A couple of things to keep in mind, some of best practices or some questions that might come up for you, and we want to cover them today. So, um, some things that might keep in mind when creating topic clusters. Well, one is internal linking. If you create topic clusters, but there's no internal links between them, they're not really topic clusters. So, um, this is very important. There should be internal links from each cluster page to the pillar page and vice versa. So you want your main pillar page to link to each cluster, and you want each cluster to link to the main page. And this is on top of the internal linking for UX driven internal linking that we just talked about on the last slide. So this is from the main page to the sub pages. The other one could be from one sub page to the next sub page, kind of supporting the customer journey around that. Use relevant and descriptive anchor texts. So your anchor texts for internal linking signal to Google what we want the page to rank for. And that's only true for internal linking. For external links and backlinks, there's a different story. But for internal linking, you don't want to use non-descriptive anchor texts like learn more, click here, read more. But instead, you want to use your keyword or a variation of your target keyword that you want to rank for. And that can tell Google, hey, this is the page that I want to, this is the keyword that I want this page to rank for. The next thing you want to consider is the URL structure for these topic clusters. So, where possible, we want to nest URLs for the topic clusters. Now, keep in mind, sometimes this doesn't make sense. So, if your main page is a service page and your cluster pages are blogs, then this might not make sense. But if your main page is a blog and the rest of your pages are also sub pages are also blogs, then you can start nesting them. So this is a random URL. It's probably you're probably going to get a 404. It doesn't exist. So I don't try to go to this URL just as an example. Um, And if you look at the picture at the top, if I was to create a URL for this page called Best Tools for Core Web Vitals, the page with the circle around it, then the first URL, digitalmarketing.com/, what are Core Web Vitals / best Core Web Vitals tools, would be much better than digitalmarketing.com best Core Web Vitals vital tools. So we kind of want to nest them together. So we signal to Google, these are all part of the same cluster. The next thing that's important is the number of cluster pages. So this is actually a question that came up for myself early in the days, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to cover a topic on SEO, then how many subtopics do I need? How many cluster pages do I need? Like, I can go on and create like a lot of pages, or I could create five. Like, what's enough? So, something you want to consider is that this is different from one topic to another. Certain topics can have over thousands of cluster pages, while other topics can have 5 to 10 cluster pages. So it's different from topic to topic. But something that should help you through this is consider covering all the information for that main topic before you start cannibalizing. Cannibalizing basically means targeting the same keyword or the same topic on multiple pages. So you don't want to create so many that you start covering the same topic on more than one page, but you do want to cover all the information around that, all the useful information around that main topic, basically. So I have some examples of real topic clusters, and I have the links on here as well. So these are real websites that have attempted and done topic clusters, and they've done them very well. Um, so it should also help you if you visit these websites. It should help you see the structure they've done, the URLs they've been using, uh, how they organize their pages, the design of their pages, etc. So one's from Wine Foley. The main topic is basically just wine, and the title of this page is Wine Basics, a beginner's guide to drinking wine. And you can see the URL. They have 40 plus pages in this cluster, and this is what it looks like. So this is the main page. This is their main pillar page, wine basics, and within there they have sub pages that says what is wine exactly, the 9 primary styles of wine, taking on the wine tasting challenge, common types of wine, guide to wine for beginners, etc., etc. And if I can, I actually would like to show you this one directly on the website. So this is the main page, one basic beginner's guide, and these are the subtopics. But what they've done is that on this page, they have broken down to subtopics even further to multiple topics. So this is the main page again. These are the subtopics, and there's wine basics, serving wine and choosing glassware. So a couple of articles on that. Develop your senses of taste. So a couple of articles on that. So rather than just having um, one wine basics beginner's guide as one page and then linking to all these sub articles, they've organized in the sub articles into subtopics basically. It looks cleaner, it provides a better experience, and it's more engaging for the users. So the next one is from a website called podia.com. The topic is online courses, and the title is How to Create, Sell, and Profit from an Online Course. So it's a pretty big topic. Online course. You could talk about creating it, selling it, profiting from it, how to do it well. Um, this one has only 8 cluster pages in them, and these are the cluster pages. So decide if creating an online course is right for you. Find your first online course, create a plan and an outline for your online course content, build your online course content. So there are many subtopics, but the difference is here you don't need 40 plus cluster pages, you only need 8. And there's one more example. I don't have it on the slide, but I was looking at a website that provided workout videos, and they actually had over 1,000 cluster pages. So it really depends from one topic to another. Okay, so done with topic clusters. Now we want to talk a little bit about internal linking. Um, what time is it? 10:44. Still have a little bit to go through. So why is internal linking so important? Internal links basically distribute link equity, or we call them link juice or ranking power, link power, whatever you want to call it, across your website. So they signal to Google which pages you want Google to rank on your website. And pages with the most internal links on your website tend to rank better. So that would be your service pages, your tour pages, your product pages, right? So if you don't have any internal links to those pages, then that's a weakness. Something that we do with these topic clusters is that we increase the number of links to these main pages. And just to go back on that, sometimes I look at websites and I audit websites, and I see that the most internally linked page on the website is the About Me or the Contact Us. Um, then that signals to Google that is the most important page, which in fact is not. It would be your service pages and the pages that bring you money. Internal links also send a signal about what the topic of the page should be about, or what the topic of the page is about to search engines. So the anchor text that we talked about actually signals Google that what we want this page to rank for. So if the anchor text is not consistent, if it's a different keyword, if it's not descriptive, then that's also a weakness. It also helps search engines understand the structure of your website and your content. Um, by crawling these URLs, they understand how the pages are internally connected. So that helps understand the whole structure, and understand the content on each page better. It also helps search engines understand and find and discover new pages. As crawlers from search engines follow internal links, so these internal links help Google find new pages on your website. Some internal linking best practices. So your main pages or important pages or pillar pages should receive the highest number of internal links compared to any other page on your website. Anchor text should be consistent and descriptive. So it should be your target keyword or a variation of the target keyword that you want to rank for. Google actually does recommend using different variations. So um, you want it to be your keyword, but you can use different variations of your keyword rather than using exactly the same anchor text every time. Every page on your website should receive at least one internal link. If it doesn't, we call these orphan pages or standalone pages, just because search engines find your pages through crawling, and crawlers crawl links basically. So if there are no links to a page on your website, um, then the search engine is not going to find it, and that means that that page is not going to rank on Google or bring you any traffic. Every page should be accessible within a maximum of 3 clicks. So that's good for both user experience and for search engines. As if it's more than 3 clicks, users are more likely not to make that many clicks to see the page, and it also makes it harder for search engines as they would have to crawl um, 3 to 4 links in order to find that page. So chances are they might not find that page. And also, it signals that those pages are not so important if it's below 3 clicks, basically. Sorry, if it's above 3 clicks, basically. Okay, so we are just done with the on-page section of the webinar. We got a couple of more slides to go through. I should say maybe 10. And yeah,
Yeah, that was a very good section. Very good topic.
awesome. So when it comes to technical SEO, we're going to talk about the first thing we're going to talk about is factors affecting crawling and indexability. Because it's not always about ranking when it comes to SEO and being on the first page. You should really make sure that before you invest in your ranking, you should really make sure that Google can actually crawl your website and pages of your website, and they can index it and they want to index it. Okay, because if Google can crawl or index your page, that means you're not on Google servers and you're not ranking for anything, not even showing up on Google, no matter what page. So some things that affect your that affect crawling and indexability of your site. One is your site structure. One is your sitemap. One is duplicate content and use of canonical tags. There are many more factors that affect the indexability of your site, but for the purpose of today, those are the top three that we're going to dig into and focus in the next slides. But some more factors include robots.txt file on your website, the quality of content that you publish on your website, 404s on your website, um, filters and faceted navigation, and many other factors, but they're a big topic on their own. So um, today we're going to cover site structure, XML sitemap, and duplicate content. Well, also crawl budget. I missed that one. So first things first is your site structure, and that's the user experience of your site structure, where all of your website should be accessible within 3 clicks. We just mentioned that. You should have a clean and clear navigation menu that's intuitive. You should have breadcrumbs and you should use breadcrumbs and have a search box or some sort of a search functionality. Um, if you don't know what breadcrumbs are basically that path or that trail from your homepage. So if I go from homepage to the blog menu, then open a specific blog, then my breadcrumb is homepage, blog, and then that specific blog post. So this helps me kind of trail back how I navigated to this page. And it should be easy and intuitive for users to navigate through the website. The information hierarchy on your site structure should be logical, and it should be a hierarchical structure um, that keeps important pages at the top and places them higher in the site in your structure, basically. And it should also group related content together and establish a clear hierarchy of categories and subcategories. So this all helps Google understand your content better, crawl your content better. If related content are grouped together, then Google knows anything that's published in this section is informational or a blog post. The next one is the URL structure of your website. So you want to maintain a consistent URL structure throughout the whole site. And each URL should be descriptive with the focus keyword in the URL or a variation of the focus keyword in the URL. It's also good to keep the URLs short, but that's more of a visual thing and it's not a ranking factor when it comes to Google. Other factors that affect crawling and indexability of your site, is your XML sitemap. So your sitemap is different than your site structure. Your site structure is your navigation menu, how your pages are internally linked together, and it's like an architecture of your site. But the sitemap is actually just a file. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the structure of your site. So the sitemap is a file that contains URLs and information about the URLs, including when it was last updated. Why does that help? Because then we are giving all the URLs to Google in a file, in a sitemap, and we are like, hey, this is all the URLs that we want you to index, Google. Um, and we also tell Google when it was last updated. So Google knows since they last crawled or indexed our page, were there any changes to this page, and should they index it again and crawl it again, or it's the same? And they should prioritize pages that have been updated for crawling and indexing. So it basically helps search engines crawl your URLs more intelligently rather than just like from left to right. It's kind of like a map that they look at what's the priority for crawling today. And I'll give you some tools at the end of this on how to create sitemaps and some best practices. So
That's
just
great.
bear with
Thank you.
me.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, no problem. Some best practices for sitemap is that it should only include URLs you want Google to index. So everything that's indexable, so if it's broken, if it's redirected, if it's blocked through robots.txt, if it's not the main version, so it's not the canonical version, you don't want that on Google. Sorry, on the sitemap. And it's more effective. Not every website needs to have it. It's a good idea for every website to have it if you care about SEO. But it's more effective for websites that are large with many URLs. Because with so many URLs, you can pinpoint these are the URLs that I've recently added, for example, and I want you to index Google. Websites that frequently update their content, like news websites. If there's so many changes and the changes are happening daily, every day, then again, you can signal to Google, out of all my thousands of URLs, these are the ones that I changed today. Please go and index these ones, instead of indexing or crawling from left to right again. And websites with poor internal linking. So earlier in the slides, we said orphan pages are pages that don't receive any links. So if you have a lot of orphan pages, if you don't have good internal linking, it's going to be hard for Google to follow these links on your website, to crawl them and find more pages on your website. So if you have a sitemap, you could just give all of your URLs to Google, and that should help Google find and crawl and index all of your URLs. And new websites that don't have a web presence yet. So if you're just starting out, it's a great idea to include and start with a sitemap, and that can tell Google, hey, I'm a new site. These are all my pages. Please start indexing. So that's actually one way we signal new websites to Google. The next thing that affects crawling and indexing is duplicate content. So again, search engines really don't like duplicate content, and duplicate content can be referred to as similar content, content that's exactly the same. Sometimes I've seen that pieces of content that are slightly similar and have the same headings or the same meta tags basically have been picked up as duplicates. So they don't have to be exactly the same. They could be similar in some percentage, or have the same title or super similar titles, and Google can pick up on them as duplicate. So in that case, what we do is we use canonical tags, and that is basically picking um, out of the four. Let's say in the picture on the right, I have 4 pages and they're very similar. I know if they're very similar. And what I can do is I can canonicalize them towards one page. So I can say, this is the primary page out of all of the 4 pages that I know are similar. And that is the page I want Google to index. So you're kind of consolidating your ranking signals for Google. And so there are HTML elements that indicate the preferred version of a web page when there are multiple versions with similar or duplicate content. And they help search engines understand which version of a page should be indexed. Obviously, if there are so many pages that Google thinks they're duplicate, they're not going to index it. So we want to manage our duplicate content. And it's usually used to address issues with duplicate content or similar content on your website. Now, stepping away from crawling and indexability, we want to talk about site speed next, and why site speed is important. So, site speed is a clear ranking signal for SEO. It's one of the main factors that Google looks at. Um, and that is because Google really cares about user experience when it comes to SEO. If you've paid attention, everything that Google does is to provide a better user experience by sending the users to pages that provide a better site speed, provide more accurate content, better content, content that's better organized. So they want everything to be perfect. That's the whole point of search engines. So that's why user experience plays a huge role in this, and site speed plays a huge role in user experience. So it's all kind of tied together. Improved user experience leads to higher engagement, so more people are going to interact with your websites, and less people are going to leave your websites, which at the end is going to lead to more conversions for a web page or for your site as a whole. Some ways to optimize for site speed, and we'll go through these points, but I'll also give you a tool at the end that can do all of these for you or most of these for you. So enable page and browser caching or use a CDN. Optimize image sizes and formats and use lazy loading. So image sizes should be exactly the size that you're going to display on your website and nothing larger than that, just to save space. Um, and the preferred format that we use is WebP. Um, Not all the themes uh, can use WebP, and some things break when we display pictures in WebP, but that's something to be tried. And using lazy loading for images and videos. Minifying JavaScript and CSS files, which basically means removing the empty spaces in the coding of your website in the JavaScript and the CSS files. And removing the empty spaces can result in um, smaller JavaScript and CSS sizes, basically, which can load faster. Defer or eliminate render blocking resources. So certain resources like JavaScript and CSS actually block the rendering of the pages, the loading of the pages through that code. So they have to load completely and then the rendering can continue. So one solution is to load JavaScript and CSS files at the bottom of the code after everything else is loaded, or if not needed, we can eliminate them altogether. And then the last topic that we want to talk about when it comes to technical SEO is schema markup or structured data. So, what is schema markup? Schema markup basically is a code that's added to the website that highlights certain elements of the page in a structured data format. It basically tells Google in code form, this is, let's say, if you're doing that for a page that includes a recipe, then you can tell Google, hey, this is how long it takes to follow this recipe. These are the ingredients for this recipe. This is how many calories it has. This is the rating, how happy people have been with this recipe. So you mark up each element on the page through coding. And we do that because search engines understand coding better than they understand content. So why we do that is well, a couple of reasons. Improved search engine visibility. Um, it helps search engines understand your content better. Again, Google can crawl your content and understand what it's about, but marking those certain elements with structured data format can really go a little bit further for you and help them understand your content better. Um, and once they understand it better, they can rank it better for what it's related to. It also helps gain rich snippets. So if you don't know what rich snippets are basically the blue links that we see on Google when we search something. And if we use schema markup, um, we can gain rich snippets, which means Google can include more information on these snippets, whatever that may be. So in this case, this is an FAQ rich snippet, which shows the blue link, the meta title, and shows the meta description, and then it shows the FAQs right at the bottom. This is a recipe rich snippet. Basically shows elements of the recipe in a carousel version, which is a result of marking up these recipe pages with recipe schema. So when marking up these pages, there are many different types of schemas that we can follow. There's article schema, FAQ schema, how-to schema, local business review recipe. There's a lot of them. There's like thousands of them, but there's about 20 to 30 of them that Google supports and Google recommends using. And you can find that in the link here where it says click here. Um, Actually, let's visit that. Oop, there you go. It's here. So on the left, you can see there is course, carousel, breadcrumbs, education, salary, FAQ, movie, logo, software. So there's a lot of different FAQs that can be applied. So when you're deciding or doing a schema audit for your website, obviously the FAQ page would get the FAQ schema. Article schema can be used throughout the whole site because it highlights the author and the last modified date of the page. How-to schema can be used if you have any how-to pages where you provide step-by-step instructions on how to do something. Review schema can mark up your star ratings. Recipes, obviously recipe. So there are different kinds, and when considering schemas, you should find one that matches your page. And if there is, you do want to mark it up. So how to add schema markup? One very easy way to do this is and you don't need to know any coding of some sort for this, but you can use rank math. Make sure rank math is installed, and this is for WordPress websites. So I'm sorry if your website's not WordPress, but you're focusing on WordPress websites. So make sure rank math is installed and the schema module is activated. Then you can go to rank math, titles and meta, and select the preferred schema type that you wish to use globally by default for all of the custom post types. So you can have global schemas. For example, in this case, I'm going to mark up every page on this website with article schema just to highlight the author and the last modified date. You can also edit pages individually to add one of the available schemas and fill in the required fields. So you can open a single post or a page or whatever custom post you might have on your website if you have rank math installed. You can click on this SEO score on the top right, which is rank math's score for this on-page score for this page. Then you can click on the schema tab highlighted in yellow and click on the schema generator at the bottom. And then you can select from a range of schemas that rank math provides you. I know some of these are only covered in the pro version while some of them are free to use. So there are certain fields that have to be filled in. For example, for FAQ schema, it's only questions and answers. For a how-to schema, it must have tools, it must have step-by-step instructions. For a course, it must have ingredients, it must have calories, it must have how long it takes. So they each contain different fields, and by reading those fields, you can understand which one's good for your page. Okay, then I think these are our last slides. So Rank Math WordPress plugin is the tool that I just recommended. It can help you with on-page optimization. It can provide insights for you. There's a content AI within Rank Math that can recommend keywords, recommend titles, and compare your content to the top ranking pages on Google. Also, you can use it to create a sitemap. You can use it to mark up your schemas. It can help you set up redirects for your website. So if you plan on doing this SEO and you have a WordPress site and you don't have Rank Math, I recommend installing Rank Math right after this. And you can find this directly inside WordPress. If you go to plugins and search for rank math, you should be able to find this. The next one is WP Rocket. So WP Rocket improves site speed. All those little points that we talked about to improve your site speed can be activated within WP Rocket. Href or SEMrush. I put down many features here, but the truth is there's so much that I could probably not put all of them. But the main ones would be keyword research, and it would also help fix technical issues on your website by so they have crawlers of their own which you can send to your website, similar to search engine crawlers, and they can pick up any technical issues on your website so you can fix them. Keyword Finder from Mangools, I strongly recommend for keyword research. Page Speed Insights. So here you can put down the URL for your website, and you can analyze it to see how you're doing for speed. And the top part tells you how actual users have been experiencing it, and the bottom part that's generating now um, will provide you a score based on certain measurements in a lab environment. So that might take a minute, and then it shows you what your score is in desktop and mobile version. I'll give this a minute to see. There you go. So this specific website, has a performance score of 28, just very low. Desktop, I assume is a little bit better, so 55. We should usually aim for over 90. Um, yeah, and
They're a
if you
little bit
scroll down,
off.
sorry,
They're
they're
a
a
little bit
tiny bit
off.
off. And if you scroll down to the bottom, it can show you opportunities to improve your site speed. So then you can go and apply each of these opportunities using WP Rocket installed on your website. Oops. The next one is called Siteliner. So if you put in the URL of your website in Siteliner, it should help you find all of the duplicate content on your website. Now, just on the side note, if you have one sentence that's duplicate to a different sentence on your on a different page, that's not something to worry about. If you have testimonials that you've put on multiple pages, obviously testimonials have to be um, exactly the same and duplicate, so that's also okay. And then the last one is rich results test. So if you do end up marking up your pages with schema, you can put that URL in rich results test for Google, and it can validate your schema markup that you added to your pages, basically the code you added with rank math, to make sure it can be eligible for rich results. And if it's missing something, then you can go back and fix it. So I always recommend um, testing and validating your schema markup after you deploy it using rank math or any other software. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. I
Well,
was
that's
hoping to do 30 minutes, but I think there's an hour and 15 minutes.
yeah.
um,
A little bit over, but that's okay.
yeah,
That's okay. No, this was actually really good. And what I appreciate, Amir, you going in this is that you went from like, some more of the basic introduction stuff, and then you dove deep into the technical aspect. And that's
yeah,
why this is recorded, is that I think people will go back to this a few times.
perfect.
Now, if anyone has any questions, go down into the Q&A section. You can type in your question and I'll answer there. But I had a question for you. It actually goes back to site optimization. So tour operators, they obviously visuals are a massive part of their business. Maybe
Hmm.
they are doing snowmobile tours, zip lining, kayaking, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm curious more in terms of the videos aspect. Like, do you find that, especially with such high resolution files like 4K, Are they really slowing down websites? Do you think people should have like stuff like that, or should they keep it around 1080p? Like, what? I'm curious more of the video side of things.
Honestly, if you're embedding the videos and if you use lazy loading, that should not affect the site speed at all, because that means it's not the video, the whole video is not loading as the page is loading, but
Mhm.
rather starts loading when the user clicks on the play button for the video. So if you use lazy loading, it basically loads an icon or a thumbnail for the video, and then once you start watching the video, it starts to load the video. So that shouldn't really slow down your website if you deploy lazy loading.
Okay, all right. That's something to good to know. And then you were saying, like, I mean, there's a lot of resources you had for photos that people could use, and
Mhm.
those resources can say, "Hey, your image files are too big," kind of thing. So that's good.
Yeah, 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 for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so it looks like we don't have any other questions here. No, Amir, thank you so much for this. This was
No
really
problem.
helpful. Everybody that's watching, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat with Amir after. I'm going to collect all the collateral, especially the links that he shared, because there were a lot of good stuff in there. And either later today or tomorrow, I will send out a follow up email and with this recording and the information.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
perfect. Awesome. Thanks again, Amir. Look forward to chatting you again soon.
No problem. Me
All
as
right.
well. Bye
Take
bye.
take care, everyone. Bye.